Hello, and welcome to the webinar, Supporting Young Learners in an Online Classroom. My name is Leslie Morrison, and I'm happy you're here. I'd like to talk a little bit about CTD, the Center for Talent Development, so you have a little bit of context for our talk. CTD's main goals are to help students with exceptional academic potential reach their full potential. We serve students who are age 4 to grade 12, their families, and educators through a wide variety of programming. My role at CTD is program coordinator for online courses for pre-K through grade 5, and I'd like to share some of the strategies we've used to create those courses. We're going to focus on three main areas, which is content. That is to say, what are you trying to teach, and what materials are you going to use to support your goals? Next is how. In other words, how are you going to present the content, and how are you going to set students up for success in an online environment? And then lastly is the who. Who's your audience? In a regular classroom, your audience would be the students, right? But in an online course, it's the students, and then also the parents or the caregivers, or maybe even an older sibling. I wanted to share a little bit about universal design for learning principles. I think it's a really valuable lens to look through in terms of designing online courses, because the UDL is that we assume that some of the barriers and many of the barriers that students face in learning situations really arise from the learning environment and the course materials and not from the student. So this puts the onus on us to be really intentional about our course design. Obviously, if you're watching this, you're already sold on this idea, which is great. But the big idea here really, I think, too, is to avoid relying too much on click-through experiences in an online course, and instead think about providing offline projects, building experiences, creating, and also imaginative play. And so you can provide the guidance and directions for engaging in those kinds of experiences. And then students can come back and share videos of their work, videos of them describing their work and showing the projects or taking photos, or bringing these experiences and talking about these experiences during your class Zoom meetings. So you want to make the class really a welcome place, and there are a lot of different ways you can do that. One way you can do it is by having a welcome folder for each unit or for each topic. It depends on how you want to structure that, and allowing a conversation for getting to know you discussions to help families sort of settle into the next topic, settle into this classroom community that you're developing. So I wanted to share an example of a welcome folder. The idea of a welcome folder is that it's a place where families know they can go to find the same kind of information. And that welcome folder structure is what we provide to all of our families, no matter whether they're in pre-K or grade 5. The structure is essentially the same. So there's an overview of the course, which runs for 4 weeks. There's learning objectives and essential questions and important vocabulary. There's also a recorded orientation by the teacher, and the teacher gives a little tour of Schoology, which is the learning management system we use. And the parents are very gratified to have that, because it helps them navigate the system, and it helps them figure out what are really the important aspects that they need to be using to engage in the course materials with their children. So that's a way to reduce frustration for families. And also this folder here is a purple folder that we include information for parents and caregivers that are tips and strategies for serving as the educational guide with their children and with their students. So for example, there might be information in here about how to take story dictation, or how to provide open-ended questions to guide conversations. So supporting the parents and caregivers is critical to setting up student success, providing clear expectations, and so on. But I think one of the most valuable aspects of this idea is that when you're looking at materials and presenting materials to families, you want to you might want to look at how those materials can be chunked into sections so that parents have a better idea of where's a good starting point, where's a good point to stop or take a break, and have it in discrete pieces so they can work their schedule around that. Here's an example of course organization, and the idea here is that you can see naming conventions for the different materials and the use of folders to gather materials together. So again, this can be a little, overwhelming if you look at this and these were not organized into folders. A lot of content, right? But this is organized into 3 folders within one main folder, and then the files within the folders have a very consistent naming convention. So families and students, families in particular, will know what to expect when they are going to click into each of those. This one, for example, is a read aloud and construction of the 3 Little Pigs. This particular week focuses on using the 3 Little Pigs to look at engineering and design thinking principles. So there's construct and experiment, the force of error, a little bit of physics in there, yeah? And a view and learn stick and straw houses. So I was looking at probably videos looking at the use of materials for different building projects. The other point I wanted to make is we do have a parent letter here. We have a parent letter in every week, and this helps orient the families and is sort of an anchor for them to understand where they are, what they're doing, and how to get ready for that next section of learning. So the big ideas for your classroom, you think about content, what kind of content you're going to gather together. Make sure it's, as much as possible interesting and fun and engaging, and supporting your really focused goals. You want to have a really predictable structure when you're organizing your materials. They're clearly labeled. Make sure you're making room for hands-on and creative activities, and definitely making space for imaginative play, because working online with your students, it does not mean we have to push aside those kinds of wonderful experiences. Those can be activities that they do offline and then bring back examples of their work to the online experience. And again, the audience is the who, keeping in mind the adults that are going to be working with the children, the caregivers, and the parents. Here are some references for you. And I guess I just wanted to say at the end here, thank you for all your hard work. The fact that you're making the time to try to think about ways to serve your students and their families at this time is just, it's fantastic and appreciated. And thank you.